Hey, can you hear me? Oh, you're muted.
I can. I was muted. Sorry.
Um, Somebody's got their AI note taker logging in here. I don't know if we want to let that guy in or if we just want to leave that thing kicked out.
That's funny. I've let him in before, but I thought I knew who it was before.
Yeah, I don't have any idea whose that one is. So I don't know. I don't want to discourage people from communicating or saying something they might not otherwise say if they don't know who's going to
Oh,
work.
it's Glenn Holcomb. So if you hover over
Oh,
it,
it
you
is.
can
You're
see
right.
who it is. Yeah.
All right, ready to let everybody in?
Yep.
Hello, hello.
Yeah. Hi. Happy Friday indeed.
Yeah.
It's definitely been a week.
That doesn't say much. What kind of?
We've got 2 new client onboardings going on, and we closed on a new building on what was supposed to be last Friday, turned into Monday, turned into Tuesday. We're redoing the building. So we've got construction that starts in January, so we have tenants for the next 3 months. The old landlord turned off the water and canceled the trash service. I mean, it's just been.
That's a week.
Oh no, that does sound rough.
That's a week.
Well, congratulations on the 2 client onboardings. Those are great problems to have.
Yeah,
And
it's been good overall.
The rest of it is the price you pay for success, right?
Yep.
I'm going to show off a bit of my good week. Is I got a paperback copy of the author copy of the book that we're going to have at IT Nation. So pretty jazzed about that. All right, we have a full house today. It takes up my entire column over here. Yes, you absolutely can have signed copies.
You come by the booth, you'll get it signed in person.
Yes.
Yeah.
What'd you say, Kirk?
I didn't say anything.
Oh,
that's new and different. Oh, I mean,
that's what threw me off.
Well, I'm drugged right now, so that's great.
Oh.
Nice.
Oh, so Robert, I will have shot glasses in Chicago with me. That means I'll pull up the Friday Jamboard.
Yeah.
Let me show my screen. I will have shot glasses in Chicago.
Yes, those of you who want a Life Cycle Insight shot glass, you'll have to go visit Marnie in Chicago because they will be live and in person.
Yep. So we will have them there. Alex will have different swag in Austin, and then at IT Nation Orlando, we will have books for everybody plus some swag. So this is where we will be. We do have, there is a coupon code. So if you want a free trip to Austin, we have 7-figure coupon codes we can give you. So just message one of us separately and we will get that for you. For IT Nation, we can get you $50 off if you use the code social50. That would get you $50 off for IT Nation. If you're going to be at IT Nation, Alex and I are each presenting, and we would really love to pack a house and meet everybody. So there's the part of wanting people in the room, but there's also the part that I'd really just like to meet all of you live, or as many of you as will be there. So yeah, the books will not be in Austin yet because they're getting shipped directly to Florida. So in Chicago is the Robin Robbins, is it a road show or Producers Club? I can't remember.
I'm not sure I know the difference. So
whatever's happening on the 28th, 29th, that's road show. Thank you. I'm getting help from friends in chat. So
good thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
It takes a village.
So, yes, I feel like I might have just said that literally on LinkedIn the other day. Okay, so I'm pretty excited because last week we talked through the release that was coming, and it will be out this weekend. So I want to walk through that again. And those of you that said she just did this last week, I have a surprise because they squeezed one more thing in, and I feel like it's a good one. So even if you were here last week, just hang with me and see what you think. as always, your feedback is what makes these releases happen. So first, our product team really, really likes when I get off this call and tell them nice things that you said in the chat. And they also take feedback if you have bad things to say in the chat. So either of those are accepted. But it fires them up to hear what you think. And it also gives ideas for what else we can do in the future. So here we are in the platform. It will go out at some point on Sunday. So when you first pop in, you will get our new Sparky, the light bulb version of Clippy, who will tell you some of the updates. One new thing for those of you who have told Sparky to go away and then wanted him back, we will be putting all of the same notes that come up in the pop-up in the upper right-hand corner in the notifications. So if you ever think, oh, I wanted that, but I hit close, we will put it up here as well so that you can chase it back down. I do that myself. I close all of those things and then I realize I wanted to see them later. So the major release, which is really a lot of work on the back end, is they did a ton of cleanup and a whole new UI refresh. So this looks a little cleaner. We talked about it, right? The drop downs look a little different. The filters, I think, are much easier to use because before you kind of had to chase around boxes. Now it's much more consistent in that. We have some floating menus as opposed to tabs. So the developers like to say we took it out of 2010 code and put it into nice looking 2021 UI. One thing I do like to point out in the budget forecast, the gear is gone because there are so many pieces that you can select in the budget forecast that it has a whole tab for reporting options. The functionality is not different at all, but if you're in a panic looking for the gear, this is where it lives now. The other piece is there's much more consistency in the naming of buttons, the coloring of buttons. We didn't move any of them on you, but that is where we are so far. Projects will be named recommendations starting Monday. So projects, every place it says projects, it will say recommendations. Look, lots of thumbs up on that. I like that. Right here, right now, this says projects because if we change that right now, this is live production code, it would change it on everyone. So we want to give plenty fair warning. So we'll get Facebook group. I just fixed what I broke in MailChimp 2 weeks ago. So I should only contact you once this weekend. It was a fist fight. I won. I'm confident of it. I'm stubborn. When you meet me in person, I'm little, but I'm feisty. So I think I won it. Alex, nice. But anyway, recommendations will be everywhere. You can see recommendations list, roadmap. These look nice and tidy as well. Your integrations page will have a couple of updates that mine don't because I'm in a demo site. So I think that's most of the sort of the pieces that we had talked about last week. Now I want to jump into assessments and show the next thing that we managed to get in, which you all did not see. So this is new. This entire call may only take 8 more minutes, but I feel like it'll be a happy 8 minutes. So if I'm going into assessment events, here is the use case. People have said, and I know Kirk, you said you're drugged up, but I feel like you're going to like this one. I'd like to just copy an event and then edit the responses instead of having to rescore every item in a new event. So now if you look, there is a new copy add comparison event column where you can copy an event, and let me just do it so we can see what happens. So I'm going to take this third one in. I'm going to copy an event, and I'll give you a second to take a look at the options you have here on the right. When you go to copy the event, you can say, just show me what I scored last time so I know, you know, what I'm updating. You're welcome, Natalie. what you were updating. You can choose to include comments, both public and private. Alex, can you do me a favor while I'm doing this first one? Can you go into creative designs and tell me which one you have some public comments in? I'm going to start with the I'm going to start with just the previous responses. So let me, the comment in the chat is, holy crap, I must be high because this looks exactly like I have requested. Okay, so I'm going to add this And you will see on the left-hand side that we have a grayed out asterisk that indicates the response you selected on the previous assessment. So I can see that we were at risk last time. Oh, but we got life cycle insights and we've done an asset refresh. And so now we're green and everything is satisfactory. So now you can see where you wanted to address scoring, et cetera. If you decide you want to hide responses from the previous assessment, up here you can see there's the ability to do that. So once you're all cleaned up, and then let's go back and see what it looks like if we have comments. Right now, this does not print. So that is what they're working on at literally as we speak. They are working on getting the reports to update so that we can share this piece. I'm going to return to the events list. It looks like, Alex, I can use that same exact event.
Yeah, that January 12th one is the best one.
Okay,
It's
perfect.
the most complete.
So I'm going to open this one. I'm going to copy this event again, but this time I'm going to choose to copy over public and private comments. So I'm going to add this, and now you'll see that it is the same view, right? So we have the asterisks with the response, but now I can see the previous responses from hide previous response, show previous response. So this is my new response. This is my previous response in the grayed box. So you can see where you were, what you want to do. You can choose to add it in. So you can see this is copied in. So if you want to choose to copy it. So some of you might want to say, well, last time we talked about this, let's use the event. Sorry, let's use the comment, or you can delete it and say inventory is now being performed. And the refresh project has been completed. So now you're green, good to go, etc.
Marnie, we have a question, and it came to me directly, but I want to put it out there because you know the answer better than I do. I know we've been working on updating documentation.
Yeah.
So that's the question is for new employees, are the training docs updated to match the new update? How close are we?
So we're close, as in it'll be ready on Monday, but they're not done yet. but we didn't want to publish on the documentation until the website actually looked exactly the same. So we will update it by Monday. All hands on deck for documentation for sure.
That was not my hands. It was somebody else's hands. So
all
I'm
hands
not taking
except for
credit for that.
Alex's
Yeah.
are involved in documentation. If Amy's not paying attention right now, it's probably because she's taking screenshots
Right.
of documentation. So I'm going to go into Hunter Lodge, and I want to show you. So that's a great update, right? But that's not all. We have more. I'm going to go into assessment events, and this time, where is the one that Nick did? Here we go. I'm going to dig into the assessment. And now I'm going to look at an assessment comparison report. Whoever's behind Kirk, if you could just make sure he's awake for this, I would appreciate it. So when we, ta-da, we have a brand new report. So here, this is the ability to compare your last assessment with this assessment. So let's talk about the rules around this one. You can see that on the March 25th assessment, they had an overall 69. On the current assessment, they have an 86. You can also see individual category performance, as well as overall, we went up 17%, hardware went up 30% or 34%. And you can see between March and October, you can see the differences from this one from yellow to green, from red to yellow, along with the change on the right-hand side. A couple pieces with this. The first is this is what they're working on getting to print right now, because we have to be able to print it so that we can move it to Report Builder. So right now this is view only for you, but you know the way our developers work. If they're working on it right now, I wouldn't be surprised if we're talking about it next Friday. But let's give them 2 or 3 weeks just to make sure it's pretty, because printing is something to wrangle. So as you scroll through, you can see how you've moved from one assessment to a next assessment. There are a couple things you can do with this. In the gear, in the upper right-hand corner, scoring options. The first thing I can do is decide which assessment event I want to compare it to. So you can see if I compare it to September, that I didn't score nearly as many items in September, but I get the comparison. I do want to be super clear because some of you use this differently. So all ears on this one. For now, it has to be the same template that you're using. So if you use two different templates, that you can't do the comparison on. So right now it has to be the same template. Ultimately, we would like you to be able to use two different templates where you had similar items, but right now they need to have been the same template that you used for two different events. The other pieces, so let me go back to the March one that has more data. In the gear, one of the other features is the ability to hide the details. So instead of each of the items, I just want the overall categories. So that gives you a real quick, I think, pretty view of where we were and where we are now, kind of how the arrows are moving.
And
So
kind of a
I'll-
one-page deliverable if you're trying to sit down and have that conversation with your customer, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And Matt, I took that feedback from our conversation the other day, and that is in some notes to the developers. So I think something like that will be coming. I don't know that it'll land in the first release of this, but definitely something that we're considering. I love the idea.
Yes. So questions, comments, thoughts on that? What should I go tell the developers that like we're leaving Friday happy? We woke Kirk up, I see. So that's a good sign. Perfect. Thanks, Mark. Yeah, I have to say, Alex and I both had very pleased looks on our faces when we saw this, for sure. All right. So with that, the only other thing I wanted to share is that we had our quarterly meeting so that we could show what features we're planning on working on that made the priority list for Q4.
So real quick, sorry, before you move off this one.
Yeah.
So you showed how you hide the details or not the details. What about just having it be like a roll-up thing? So each section you
could click and roll it up.
Yeah. I mean, I would feel like that'd be the more the workflow, you'd scroll through it.
Might play nice in Report Builder, but I don't know if they can do that in Report Builder. That may be why that may have something to do with why it's the way it is, but we'll ask that question.
Yeah, absolutely. So I will tell you that our first goal was to be able to have a one pager. So that's why we were thinking condense all the way. But I get your point. To want to be able to expand from that section makes a ton of sense. But that is certainly why they went all or nothing, is because we were saying like, okay, we want to be able to give all the detail or condense it. But I think because like budget opens that way, you know, where you can expand one category at a time, that makes sense. So I do have to say that our developers absolutely really try to only commit to what they can release in a quarter, which is why we really only put out one quarter roadmap at a time. I think we've all worked with and for companies where the backlog of development items felt like a black hole instead of just a backlog, and we don't want to be that company. So we're trying to really just put forth what we believe we're going to be able to develop based on priorities. So in the help section, because I know a lot of folks ask, and everybody listening from Australia, we appreciate you watching the recording since it's the middle of the night right now, but we've put the product roadmap for the next quarter in the help so that you don't have to rely on emailing me in order to have access to it. Not that I mind giving you access to it. So as of right now, these are the pieces that will be released. And this release is sort of end of Q3. So there are some holdover items that I didn't include here. But for Q4, the UI refresh, the new comparison assessment report. So those are the two things going out now. Next step is the ability to push to tickets from all platforms. So from to ConnectWise, to Datto Autotask, to Halo, to Synchro. Breach Secure Now integration, which we mentioned last week. Project templates. So that's the ability to create one project template that you can repeat over customers, right? So you can set up, this is a project I'm going to do multiple times over a variety of customers. I'd like to use that. We announced last week that we will be releasing a customer success module, which will be an add-on, and then contracts into Halo and Synchro. So when we discussed this, developers said, didn't they, Alex, say like, plus probably 14 to 18 more littler pieces? So literally that's what they said, 14 to 18 littler pieces. And sometimes things like this assessment comparison report are a littler piece to them.
Yeah.
So there will certainly be more than that, but in terms of big initiatives.
There's actually one missing from here too.
What is that one?
SSO.
Oh, yes, SSO. Yep.
Yeah. Which is a pretty big one.
Yeah, very big one. So that's where
So-
we stand on releases.
SSO should land this quarter. We've got some confirmation from the developers that they overcame the hurdle they were fighting with. So that is headed in the right direction.
Oh, absolutely. That is more in QA than anything else. So
Yeah. We're testing it regularly. So it'll be out to you shortly.
Yep. So that is all we had for the day, which maybe a short Friday makes it a happy Friday, or maybe our amazing developers make it a happy Friday. So you guys can decide.
But with that, I mean, if you guys have questions that are related to this, we'll take them. If you have questions that are unrelated to this or anything else that we can do while you've got us on the phone, don't hesitate to allow us to diverge into other topics and make sure you guys leave here with all your questions answered.
Yeah. If we're sounding like every other vendor, then I'm
Right.
curious who else you're working with.
I have failed you this Friday if I sound like every other vendor.
I can feel the insulting really, really strongly there.
Right, that hurt.
No way.
It's all in love.
I was gonna say, I don't know any other vendors who actually post their pipeline for us to make it easy for us to find out what it is. So
Transparency is a core value. So whether we're doing what we're supposed to or not, we're at least going to put it out there so you know what we're aiming for.
I get roadmaps from other vendors. It's whether or not they commit to them over a 5-year period or not.
That is honestly, so people will say like, where is this in your extended roadmap? And again, I definitely have worked for a company where I would take whatever product told me, I tripled it, added 3 months, and then hoped that I would still meet it. And we don't like being that. So we want to commit to what we know we can do. And
in full transparency, our deeper product roadmap is not organized. I mean, it literally is kind of a black hole where we just have a pile of things that every quarter our entire leadership team gets together and says, okay, let's sort and assign and apply to the things that we know we can get done. And re-rank them, because 2 reasons for that. One, we don't want to commit to things we can't get done. And 2, you guys give us such awesome feedback all the time that sometimes what we plan to do in Q1 right now probably will change by the time we get there, because you guys will come up with something else and we'll have better and different options. So we try and keep it fluid back there.
yes, plus William's got 100 ideas for us on Friday night, so we have to.
Right.
So
I can't be the only one sending random emails and info at.
No,
You're not.
no. It's not even a lonely place. But we appreciate it. I mean, all this gets built because you guys tell us what you need. Like that's where this comes from.
Alex, I feel like this is a little bit different view of the report you were showing me the other day.
Yep. So
yeah, I like it better.
Good.
Yeah, I do too.
Good.
Kind of reminds me of one of the Price is Right games where you've got to get it right in the middle.
Funny, yeah. For the sake of folks watching at home, I'm going to click through the copy assessment comparison event again, just because I think, we're grabbing previous responses, and then in the upper right-hand corner, this is where you grab the assessment comparison report. I felt like I clicked that button quickly. But that again is where you can choose what you're comparing it to. And it will only let you compare those events that match this template for now. But you're right, that does look like that slider. Maybe when you come in, it should go back and forth and back and forth, and then it lands here.
Higher,
Um,
lower, higher, lower, lower, higher.
I remember, I feel like there were many snow days and sick days where I rooted for that. Yeah.
Looks-
Somewhat related to this, so you guys have canned assessment templates.
Mhm.
Do you have thoughts on, are you going to put effort into continuing to either change the current ones or add future ones? I always have this sense of I don't want to start from scratch a new one if you guys are working on stuff.
Alex, do you want to take that?
Sorry, I missed the first half of that.
Oh, so we have canned assessment templates. Are we going to put effort into updating, building new, adding? He doesn't want to kind of start one from scratch if we have one in the works.
The only thing we really have in the works right now is some stuff that is like CIS V8. So if you're using the current CIS template, which is V7, we will release V8 into the platform. The CIS 18, the no longer 20. So I didn't even realize that hadn't made it into the platform. I've actually had that CSV file for a little while. So I did put it in with development today to have them push that out to the platform. I'm not aware of anything else that we're really working on. Is there something specific that you need?
Not that I can think of. I know you had talked a few weeks back about getting different vendors, Umbrella, Duo.
Umbrella and Duo are going to come to this call and talk with you guys on it, and we're going to present some. And what we'll do with that is just give you a small CSV that you can import and then just add those to the templates you're already using. Because I'm pretty confident that most of our partners have taken our template and mangled it and made it their own. And then if we release a new one, you start back over with our stuff. So if we give you a small CSV, you can do an import and then just add those questions to yours, sprinkle them in wherever you feel like they fit.
So
Here's
going
the
back
import.
then to your comparison, if we were to take a template, add questions to it, and want to compare to a review we did without those questions, that'll still work here.
It'll still work. It'll just, it'll give you
We have
points on the
great
right side.
responses.
Yeah.
Got it.
So that is why that is a best practice. So I'm really glad you brought up that particular use case, is because if you edit the template you're using, right, and don't use item, maybe have a category at the bottom is something that you're not going to use in the future, or you don't use every time, so it just grays out and you don't include those items for this comparison purpose. That's really important.
So I've never looked. Is there an archive of questions as we start to phase stuff out?
So go to assessments, Marnie, and then down
Yeah.
to the assessment items. So all of your items list here. If you bring in 20 different templates, all the items will live here. So you can go pull one individually and add it to an assessment. So if you go back to a template and say, Marnie, just go to any template and add one of these AC1 items. Yeah, grab the client success. That's fine. So you can come in here and those two green buttons give you the add above or add below. And you can import an existing one here that goes back and searches that catalog. Actually, it's great that we're going through this because I don't think a lot of people know this. I don't think a lot of people utilize this very heavily, but so that you can come and add questions. And then obviously if you go into layout view, you can move them up and down and slide them around. But this is where, if we give you 6 new questions, you can import them. They'll land over there in that bucket as well. They'll have their own individual template. You can just delete the template. The questions will stay and you can pull them in here and sprinkle them wherever you want.
Gotcha.
And we'll give you guys some instruction with that when we deliver that first one. We'll get Duo on to do one, and then there's a few other partners I think we're going to talk to about releasing some special content or some custom content to their stuff. Is anybody here using Cyber CNS? Can I get a raise of hands or thumbs up or something like that? So I was talking to them today, and I think we're going to do some custom questions based on their stuff too. So if you're using Cyber CNS to do your initial risk assessment, or even just to do your comparisons, we'll have some stuff that is special to them. And not that it's not best practice for everybody, but it's those questions that if you're going in and trying to do some wedge selling, being able to answer some questions specific to, do you have vulnerability management in place? And Cyber CNS picks up certain things that are easy to show off once you're using their tool. So I am working with Andrew on some of that.
Nice.
They're great guys. They're just super busy and hard to get a hold of. They're
Yeah.
they're burning the candle at both ends, just like our
They've-
developers.
They've been pushing away a lot of integration kind of stuff because of that.
Yeah. Yep. Yes, they have a lot going on. We understand their pain very, very much. So
I don't know what I'm going to do this weekend when I'm not writing a book. So I hear them. Whatever, Howard, you come up with, I'll have some tea with honey. Down the road, are we looking at multi-assessment that graphs the changes by assessments and categories? So I do think that we will be looking at more tracking of assessment over time, Mark. Since this is the first sort of comparative report, my guess would be we will get feedback on this and see what folks are aiming for. So as you give to and use the comparison, we'd love to hear, we'd love to hear what that would look like. Our developers are really game for all of that. We all come from data backgrounds. So the geeks in us love to see those charts too. So if you have specific, ideas of how you'd like to see them, we're very interested.
Yeah, it would just be like showing, hopefully, the progress that you're making. with
Yeah.
it,
Yes. Fingers
past-
crossed.
Past year and stuff like that too.
So in the CS module coming out, there is sort of a little mini line graph that kind of shows progress. So that Notion is already kind of at the tip of one of our engineering departments, kind of top of mind for them for sure. Like it. Anything else on this fine Friday?
Well, don't get too successful, then you probably get bought up by somebody else and then the product will go down the dumper.
Okay, we'll aim to not get too successful.
Yeah, I'll tell you this. My goal is not to not be too successful. It's to be too expensive. Right? It's to be expensive
Mark
enough that
here.
I want them to not be able to afford us so that we continue to do this because we're having fun.
Ah, shoot.
Cyber liability insurance is going to be needed more. Find out limitations, waiting period, expiration of said insurance. It'd be great to build this out.
Oh, as in assessments.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know like the state of California, there's pretty much talk that by 2023, any small business is going to need to have cyber liability insurance. So
That's awesome. As the carriers are going, we're not going to give this to anybody. We're going
Right,
to back out of the market. Now California's going, but you have to have it.
right. So I'm going through each of my clients and grabbing their cyber liability insurance, one to build out incident response policies, and that could be something else that is on your future roadmap of, that would be a great add-on, like a paid add-on, is having that templated out. But in the shorter term is being able to bring it up in assessment, especially if it's like a contract it's going to expire, and make sure that they're not waning on that. And it's a great tactic for bringing in brokers that you utilize. I've got a couple that appreciate it. I've got one that pays me in bourbon whenever I give them a new client, but it's going to be necessary.
Well, first, that
Yeah.
explains a lot of your behavior. No, just kidding.
IR planning is one that I am laser focused on. I know that the tools in the market today suck.
Yeah.
So it's one that, we obviously don't have the bandwidth to tackle today, but we're aware of it. We're watching it. It's kind of like vendor due diligence, where it's out there in the horizon, and we know that either somebody's going to do something with it, or as we continue to add modules and things, it's something that we will choose to address if no
Yeah.
one else does.
Because we're templating it out internally, and it is a pain in the ass.
If you know any AWS developers that work for peanuts, we'd be happy to have them. Wait, good AWS developers that work for peanuts. Yeah.
Okay, you said peanuts. All right, thank you.
I mean, bourbon is also a possibility.
Yeah,
Wait, isn't there a peanut butter flavored it's whiskey, not bourbon? There you go. There you go.
Yeah, or gin. But
I know
yes,
where to find all the good gin. I'm good with that.
Yeah, you do.
All
But
right.
But yeah, I think that's going to be an important thing and will give you definitely a leg up on any competition. Because it's the elephant in the room. No one wants to talk about it or deal with it, but it's an ugly, needs to be done thing. So
How many of you guys are talking incident response? How many of you are doing more than just talking about incident response with your customers? Are you guys building plans? What do you use to build them today?
Rafi raises hand.
Word.
There you
Word. Okay.
Word.
Word up.
Howard, what are you building them in? Is it Word for you?
Excel,
Excel,
Word,
Word,
checklist,
IT glue?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's Word.
Okay.
Right now, we're partnering with a company that provides like a packet of policy templates. And then they also provide additional consulting hours to go along with that. I think the goal is eventually for us to be able to do that. We just don't have the manpower today in order to do that along with everything else we're doing right now.
Yeah. Yep. It's a tough one. It's time consuming. Let's be honest. It's one of those things that is not identical for any customer. If you just go, it's like policies. If you go drop a default,
It's harder than policies. Policies you can reuse a little bit more than it's
a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is not a insert name here.
Yeah.
You
And
know,
that's the problem.
email
Yeah.
merge.
Place.
Yeah, I found a place online that will do it for your clients, but it's something like $3,000 a client or something in that range. So,
Yeah.
and it looks like Tim may have templates. Tim's
Intact.
templates.
Templates.
Tim, if you want to drop your email address in the chat, then everybody can touch base with you on that. And we'll post it on the internet and all that good stuff, so you get all the spam. Every one of these people that sends our contact us something weird, we'll just forward it off to you.
Wow. Well, get ready for a flood.
And then suddenly Tim will be talking about extending my car warranties.
Right,
So,
right. There you go.
Perfect. All right. Well, it has been great chatting with everybody.
Yeah,
Great.
yeah. Awesome.
thank you all.
I'm glad you guys are as excited as we are about the stuff that's coming. So all I can say is when you see it, when it's live in the platform, poke at it, beat it up, and let us know how it behaves.
Yep.
It's the
Will
one
do.
time where that's actually approved behavior.
Good, because that's what I do.
We
And we
appreciate
encourage
everything, guys.
Right on.
Yep.
Appreciate
Have
you.
good ones.
Thank you all.
Bye.
Enjoy your Friday.
If you don't